Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. There's been a murder and one of us is going to be the witness. We saw who it was. We're going to be trying to cooperatively get the rest of you to guess who the murderer is by giving silent clues. We're talking about unusual suspects here. Now this is from Cranial Creations. It says 3 to 18 players. I don't know where they got the 18, but you can basically just say 3 or more players because you could probably play it with even more than that. It says 20 minutes. No, it's about 5 minutes per game, maybe 10 tops, but you will play it way more than once when you play this. So maybe 20 is accurate, you'll play a bunch of rounds. Anyway, let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. Now this is a cooperative game where one player will be the witness, and the witness will wear this hat because they're going to be looking at these and they don't want people to see where their eyes are looking, so they'll put this hat on. They'll also secretly know who the murderer is by they would look at this card, and you see this is a grid of 3 by 4. They would see that this person is the murderer and only the witness would know this. This would be secret. So he puts on the hat, he gets this, he grabs these cards that are yes or no. Everybody else is trying to figure out who the actual murderer is by asking the witness a bunch of questions. So for example, the first question is, does he or she take care of the garden? So the witness, who's wearing the hat and knows the exact answer, would answer, does the true murderer take care of the garden? And they would just say, they wouldn't say yes or no, they would put this card down. And the reason for using the cards is because inflections of your voice, no, could change things. So you put the card down, no. So everybody else discusses and goes, okay, the person does not take care of the garden. So which people here do we think take care of the garden? Because that person couldn't be the murderer. So we would go through this and say, who takes care of a garden? This guy looks like he might take care of a garden. He might be a gardener. Let's flip him over. Okay, well, good. This guy here, let's see. She takes care of a garden. She's all ready. Good. And you can do as many as you want. If by accident they actually flip over the actual murderer and kind of take them off the list, the game's over and you lose. So what you do is, let's say we stop here. You have to at least do one card, but you're trying to do it as fast as possible. Because in this case, we eliminated 2 suspects, and it's the first question. So 2 times 1 is 2. We've spent 2 hours of time. All right, let's put a second question now. Does he or she drink a lot of coffee? I'm going to say yes. The person drinks a lot of coffee. So everyone's going to try to take out people that don't drink a lot of coffee. Ooh, this is a tough one. You could say, well, old people drink coffee, right? You could say, wow, she looks like really perky. She's probably drinking coffee. I don't know. This guy, who knows? Does this guy drink coffee? I don't think this guy drinks coffee. We'll flip him over. Does this guy drink coffee? He's old. He might. Does this guy drink coffee? Jeez, I don't really know. Does this guy drink coffee? It doesn't look like he does, but he is kind of dressed like a rock star. Maybe he's up so late he has to drink coffee. Huh. Okay, does this guy drink coffee? This guy drink coffee? No, let's say this guy doesn't drink coffee. This lady's too pristine for coffee, right? Okay, so we turned over 3. And again, if any of these were the true murderer, the witness would just flip this card over immediately and say, we lost. So here we did 3 more cards, but because it's the second round, it's 3 times 2, which is 6 hours we spent there. Okay, the next one is, does he or she like eating fast food? Yes, he does. Oh, okay. So let's say, so we want to eliminate the people that don't eat fast food. Well, she doesn't eat fast food. She's all into her image. She doesn't want to gain weight. Same with her. No, she's not there. This guy's way too skinny to be eating fast food. And let's just leave it at that. That's 3 more cards. 3 more cards. That's 9. Next question. Does he or she spend a lot of time in the bathroom? Yes. So we're going to try to eliminate people who do not spend a lot of time in the bathroom. See, this is interesting. You could say he spends a lot of time in the bathroom because he's shaving and he looks really nice. So it could be him. This guy, it doesn't look like he spends a lot of time in the bathroom, but getting ready, but hey, he looks like he'd sit on the pot for a while, right? So you don't want to eliminate this guy. And then you go, this guy, same thing. It could be either or. This guy, I don't think he spends a lot of time in the bathroom. It doesn't look like it. Oh, man. And then they flip this one over and they go, oh, it's wrong. And then they flip it over and we lose. Now, why would I have said yes? Well, I'm not sure. This guy could go either way. You could say, well, they already talked about him being a musician. Remember, the witness can't talk at all the whole game, but he's listening. And earlier, the people said, well, he's a musician. He's up late at night, right? So if he's up late at night, if he's a musician, he's going on stage, he probably spends a lot of time in the bathroom getting ready for the shows, but that could have been misconstrued, and it gets really hard as it gets down. So in the end, we would have just failed and lost. If we had won, you would have done this and added up all these numbers, and that's your investigation time. You put the team name in, and you keep it, and you try to always beat your best score, although the game is much harder to beat than you can think. Now you can play this game competitively. What happens is each team gets an investigator, or the witness, and the witness gets, both witnesses from both teams get to see who the murderer is. So it's the same board, same murderer, but only the witness from both teams gets to see it. And it works the same way, except you go back and forth one question at a time for each team. So one team would ask a question, the witness would give an answer, and they would guess. If they correctly flip over somebody, they would remove the cards that they flipped over that round, and these are points, 1 point apiece. Then we'll go to the other team, and then they would try to flip. The other team would get some questions, and then they would flip some over, and if they're correct, they keep these for points, and it whittles it down. Now, if at any point in time a team accidentally turns over the true guilty person, well, then they lose all the cards they got that round, and the other team gets 3 points. They basically take 3 cards off the deck to add as points. If they get down all the way to the end and no one's at the end of the game, which is 10, 15, or 20 points, depending on what length game you want, you set up a whole new 12 suspects and 2 new witnesses, and you start again. Essentially, you're just trying to do that. Now, if someone actually eliminates everybody except the guilty, that team gets an additional point to put in there. So it's pretty much how you play competitively, and it gives it just an interesting twist. Now, there's only 12 cards played each game of this, but there's 53 cards that come in the game of suspects, and so I'm just going to rifle through a bunch of these so you can get a feeling for some of the other cards that are in here. And so, these get shuffled, so there's a lot of replayability here. There's also over 70 of these question cards, so mix those with shuffling these, and there's a lot of replayability in the cards that are here. There's Unusual Suspects. Wow, I really, really loved this game. This year has this interesting thing where there's already 3 games that I absolutely loved this year that have similar mechanisms, where one person is giving silent clues or clues to somebody, then they can't talk. Mysterium's like that, Codenames is like that, Deception and Murder Hong Kong's like that. Those are 3 games that came out this year that I absolutely love, and I'm just loving this mechanism. This uses the same thing. I'm giving clues, I can't talk, yes or no, and you guys talk about it. So, if you liked Mysterium, or you liked Codenames, or you like Deception and Murder Hong Kong, you're probably really going to like this because it has that same feeling. This is probably the most accessible game from all of those. Not that any of those games are harder at all, because they're all pretty easy. They all can be played with people that don't play a lot of games, but this is one that you could really bring to anyone and play it. It's very simple, but still gives that same feeling, and it's the quickest out of all of them by far. Now, I also love how they have the variant where, hey, you don't want to play cooperative, you can have competitive and have teams, and that's cool too because you're getting points and you're losing points if you turn over the wrong guy, and you're playing, and you can play this competitively. Cool twist because, yeah, Codenames is competitive, but this allows you to play cooperatively or competitively like Codenames, and I really like that. Now, the only caveat to this, because I'm going to recommend this to everybody, this is an awesome game. My only caveat is this game is really purposely designed to almost speak your mind almost in a stereotypical manner, where you're basically judging people by the way they look. Okay? Does this person spend a lot of time in the bathroom? Yeah, he does. Why? Well, that opens up some interesting conversations. And there's some cards in there that point you more towards these things I didn't necessarily show you in the video. Just be warned, you probably shouldn't play this game with people you don't know. And the crazy thing is, you might not think that you have strong opinions on something, but as soon as you say, oh, this guy's this because he's that, it's judgmental. This game is almost meant to be judgmental purely on looks. That's what makes this game, and hearing how other people, how their opinions of this question and the discussions of that is what makes this game. This game's really played above the table, and that's where the game shines. But it's a double-edged sword because at the same time, you might tick off some people by some of the things that you say in this game. So be wary that you probably don't want to play with people you don't know. and it can get a little hairy. So, with that being known, that it might go down that road, if you're playing this with people you know you love and you know really well, and anything they say is not going to change your thought of them, excellent game, one of my favorites of the year. Go and get it. If you're going to play with people you don't know, you might want to be careful because this might make you guys hate each other. Other than that, excellent game, Unusual Suspects. I'm keeping it in my collection, so let's do a saxophone serenade and inducting it into my gaming library.